Hi guys, I hope you're all well. It's Thursday the 28th of December 2017. So today is our last day in Singapore. We've got about 10 hours left before we have to catch the plane over to Sydney, Australia. So we're just making our way down to the lobby of the hotel and we're going to get a taxi back over to the Marina Bay Sands. We're wanting to go up to the Sky Park observation deck again. As you saw yesterday in yesterday's video, we were in the Sky Park last night, but we want to be able to see it from a different perspective. Instead of being nighttime, we want to see it during the daylight hours. Got to rummage through my wallet, get those moths out the way before finding the $50 bill. So obviously because we're going back there, we are going to have to buy another 2 tickets, which I think are $23 each. It's going to be 46 Singapore dollars. So we've just got to the top of the Marina Bay Sands to the Sky Park, and now we're walking through the tunnel to get to the outside of the observation deck. And you can see we're looking down into the garden by the bay, and you can see the Super Tree Grove, which the big one right in the centre, that's got the restaurant, as you can see. You can also see the Flower Dome and the Cloud Forest Dome. You can see the Singapore Flyer big wheel, and just below that is the F1 racing circuit. So we're having a good walk around the observation deck, taking in as much of the scenery as possible. Walking up the stairs to the top part of the observation deck, where me and my mum are wanting to pose for a selfie to get the background landscape. You can also see just at the back of the Marina Bay Sands, you can see the infinity pool, which is for the guests of the hotel. You can see the National Gallery of Singapore. You can see the Merlion Park. You can see the Pan Pacific Hotel, where we've both been staying for the last couple of days. You can see St Andrew's Cathedral. So whilst we were on the observation deck, it was so hot we wanted to get away from the sun and find a bit of shade, so we decided to go into the bar and have a nice cold drink. And we also bumped into a couple of fellow Brits and just had a bit of a chit chat, and it was hard to believe that just in a few hours time it was forecast to absolutely tip it down with rain. Once we finished our drinks, we started to make our way back down to the taxi rank and drive back towards our hotel. Because we only had a few hours to pack our clothes, get our suitcases sorted before catching the next taxi back over to the airport. And sure enough, when we were back in our hotel room and packing our clothes into our suitcase, that's when the heavens opened up and it absolutely peed it down. And tried to get some of the rainstorm that was occurring outside. By the time we got our taxi and we were driving over to the airport, obviously it was night time. The rain had all gone away, and then we're just hanging around in the airport and then catching our plane to Sydney. Once we found the seat, I just wanted to check out to see how much room I've actually got, especially with the seat tray table. As you can see though, it's the same situation as before on the previous flight. It doesn't really fully extend out. It was then time to give the seatbelt a go. Now I'm expecting it not to fit, and sure enough, it won't fit. In fact, there's about a 15-20 centimetre gap, so I had no choice but to ask for an extension belt, which is always a bit awkward asking for. Once I got my seat belt securely fastened, it was then time to check out the onboard entertainment to see which films I haven't yet watched. And well, I've got 8 hours to kill, so I'm going to be watching at least 3 or 4 films during this flight. So now we're just taxiing over to the runway and getting ready to take off. And if you've ever wondered what a nighttime takeoff from Singapore looks like, well, you're about to be illuminated. So even though I try my best to hold out for as long as possible, during an 8-hour flight, it's inevitable that I will have a call of nature. Now, I was expecting the toilets to be bigger for a long distance flight, but they were just a wee bit snug. As you can see, I was basically shoulder to shoulder in the cubicle. Even though at this moment in time, flying is a little bit uncomfortable for me. You know, tight seats, seat belts don't fit, tray tables don't work for me, toilets are a wee bit too small for me. I really do still enjoy the experience, even though it can be a little bit stressful with all those other things. Just being able to look through the window and just seeing the whole of the world go by is a true highlight and something that I always look forward to. Since I really do enjoy watching the scenery go by, I thought I'd bore you all so you can see a speeded up version of our descent into Sydney Airport. Oh, and I almost forgot, it's now Friday the 29th of December 2017. So we've pretty much lost Most of the day in Sydney, it's around about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've still got to make our way over to our hotel. So there's a bit more travelling involved, but I tell you what, I am absolutely knackered at this point. I've had hardly any sleep. Well, I haven't had any sleep. I just can't seem to sleep whilst on aeroplanes. As you can imagine, I'm exhausted and just wanting to get to the hotel and just collapse and have a good old sleep. Once we landed at Sydney Airport, we then got into our taxi and made our way over to our hotel in Darling Harbour. It's called the Park Royal Hotel. So as soon as we arrived at our hotel, we made our way up to our room, and you know what that means? It's guided room tour time. Walk in, we've got 2 double beds, which is a good start, and it's a relatively smallish room, but we're not going to be spending much time in the room because we're going to be doing a lot of exploring during our short time in Sydney. Not really much of a view out of the window, but you can see the Darling Harbour just on the right there. What else have we got in the room? We've got a couple of cupboards with a fridge in there. We've got a TV. Just going to take you over towards the bathroom. So we've got a bath, we've got a shower, toilet. So we've got the basics. We've got what we need. As I mentioned earlier, by this point I was just truly exhausted. So we just basically started to unpack our things. And as soon as we unpacked, we made our way down to the hotel restaurant to have something to eat. But whilst we were down having our meal, I left a time lapse running of the scenery from our window, and just to see the world go by yet again from our hotel room. Just like I always do, I'm going to finish off the video by just looking back at a few photographs which were taken over the last 35 hours of the holiday. I hope you enjoyed them. You can see that they left us a little present when we walked into the hotel room. They left us a bottle of bubbly to welcome in the new year. 2018 is just around the corner. And as always, if you'd like to continue to follow us along our adventure, you can see the next installment tomorrow.